All right, so what I've decided to do is to kind of tell about my life in Poland growing up. This is where I grew up. This is my grandma's place. And so I'm just gonna do kind of like a walkthrough of all the places I remember living here from age 0 to 8. That's me in the window, that handsome fellow. Uh, let's see if I can flip the camera. I don't know how, whatever. So first story, this door, now obviously there's a code. Um, this door, when I was a little kid, was just like a magnetic lock and you had to have a code to type in and everybody had the same code. But if you yanked it pretty hard, then it just opened. So even as a 8-year-old kid, if you yanked it hard enough, it just opened. So that's not a very good locking mechanism. They've changed it since, obviously. Anyways, this is a convenience store that's been here since I was a little kid. Fun story. So I'll show kind of the inside, but I won't go in and bother them. Fun story is, let me get away from this trash thing. But anyways, imagine there used to be like a big Coca-Cola can here, or not even a can, but more of like a fridge. And as kids, we would buy the Coca-Colas, but if you bought them and took them home, then they were more expensive than if you bought them and drank them on site and returned the glass bottle. So this is the playground, or not the playground, this is the preschool I used to go to, or kindergarten, whatever's the difference. And I remember lots of good memories here. I think I went here for 3 or 4 years, maybe 2 or 3 years. Jesus Christ, terrible noise. But anyways, so we would constantly, whenever it was outside time, come right next to this gate here as I'm walking along, and we would be you'd have 4 or 5 kids just lined up, my best friends, and we would just be harassing any passerby, basically heckling them. It was always a good time. So this is where I went to school. So on the other side is like the little park slash playground. And so a fun little story about the playground is this hill, which I don't know if the perspective is captured quite well, but it's pretty tiny. I used to think it was ginormous. And so when I left Poland for America, at the age of, let's just say 8, I don't remember if it was 8 or 9 or whatever. And then I came back 10 years later for the first time. That hill is tiny, but I remember it being ginormous. So it's a little fun fact there. So that's where the kindergarten was. We're walking down this side. There's 2 stories here. So this building to the left, I'll show you exactly the door, was where my best friend lived. And so I hung out with him probably almost every day, maybe 5-6 days out of the week. But anyways, before I get into that one, there's also a bakery right around the corner here. It's actually my best friend's apartment at the time, or I guess his family, because we were 5 or 6, is right across from this little bakery here. But I remember whenever we would go over here, I would always ask my mom or grandma for a couple złoty. Look, and speak of childhood memories, there's a little field trip going on over there. Anyways, so we would get either like a cream-filled roll or something over here, and it would always be like my little treat for the day. And so my best friend, he lived right there. I don't remember which floor he lived on, but somewhere up there. Man, vlogging like this with people around feels kind of weird. It's like the third person that looked at me funny. Anyways, so this was the cakes and stuff. Yeah, I wonder if they have this specific one I used to like. Yeah, ciasto firmowe, that one on the very left side. That was my favorite as a kid, and it still is one of my favorites now. So, moving along. A fun story. So, as kids, obviously we were so small that we would rarely be allowed to walk between our houses together, but on occasion we would be, and it would always be like a sprint for dear life that felt super long. I have a fun story walking past here. I'll be quiet here for a sec. I chose a bad path. I should have gone the other way. Anyways, so I remember... no, this story doesn't fit good. Anyways, there's another path just like this on the other side. And it's next to some sort of university, or just, I guess, university building. It's tiny. But so we're going towards my father's house. So my mother and grandma lived there, and my father was over here. And I had a few times where I would run from one house to the other, and it would again be like a sprint for dear life, because we expected somebody to abduct us or whatever. All right, I feel a little weird filming these kids. Should have gone some other way. Here's like I think this is middle school to high school. Something like that. Maybe actually I think it's just middle school. I think high school's somewhere else. But that's where I went to school, and I've got a really good story for over there, but I'll tell it when I get there. We're getting pretty close here to where I lived with, or where my father lived, and I, spent my times sometimes at my grandma, sometimes at my dad, obviously. There's this big church, very nice. Let me get past these kiddos here. Give me just a second. Alright. I don't want to record the kids. Alright, so here we are. These buildings. There used to be a little ice cream store here on the left. I wonder if it's still here. There's more of the school. And so that building right in front of me is the building that my dad lived in. It's a pretty long building, so it was a little bit on the left. But anyways, that's where I also grew up. I never really played over here because this was for like the middle school kids, and I was like 7. So we were scared to go over here because they looked so intimidating. And now as an adult, they're just kiddos themselves. Up there's the ice cream place. So, next good story is there used to be an internet cafe. I'll show it right as we turn left here. And my father, I guess he was in his late 20s, early 30s at the time. So him and his friends would hang out right here on the street corner. And they were friends with the internet cafe owner. So this place that's closed up was the internet cafe. And so we lived right there, internet cafe here. And I remember going there and there just being masses of people playing CSGO or Grand Theft Auto. And it was pretty cool. And obviously you paid for like an entry fee plus whatever amount of time you spent on the computer. But since my father and my parents knew the owner, I always got it for free. So it was really nice. So we lived somewhere over here. It was this door right here. I remember learning how to ride the bike here. Across the street here. So I remember learning how to ride the bike here. It was very frustrating. Many times I threw the bike on the floor. I also have a good memory of losing one of my teeth here. So I was playing soccer with my cousin, and he kicked the ball really hard, hitting me right in the face, and it knocked out my tooth like in a cartoon or something. So that was funny. It was one of the painless ones. I remember losing all my other teeth. That was always not a pleasant experience. So another fun thing is these stairs right ahead of us that we're going to take is basically as far as I was allowed to go as a kid when I would play with my cousin. Now, my cousin was, I don't know, 3-4 years older than me, something like that, maybe 4. No, yeah, probably like 3 or 4 years older. So he was a kid too. But so I would play on those stairs. Tons of memory just sitting around playing with the soccer ball. And then this tree, I don't think it used to be here, but one of those balconies was my father's. So my mom or dad or whoever would sit out there, or my aunt, who also lived in that house, would sit there and watch us play on these like stairs in this little playground here. And so keep in mind that this is like 50 feet from here. So This place I remember super familiar, spent so much time over here all the time, right? But if we went right over there, which is like, I don't know, 300 feet away, it felt like a totally different neighborhood. And so we very rarely went over there. And when we did, it felt like an adventure of sort. And oh, I have a good story here. So one day we went over there. This is when I must have been like 6. And I had just gotten a new bike that my dad got me. And my cousin's friends were hanging out. They're like, "Oh man, you got such a cool bike." And I let them ride it for a little bit, and the guy disappeared for like 30 minutes. And so, I was crying. I was like, "Oh, he stole my bike, whatever." And then he did intend to steal my bike, but my dad talked to my cousin and basically gave him a talking that he's going to be in trouble if his friend doesn't bring the bike back. So the bike did appear sometime later, but I remember being so upset about that. This was like the giant store that we would go visit. Now compared to like a Walmart in Poland or in America, this is tiny. It's like a little supermarket. But I remember going to this store as a kid. I'd be like, "Oh, this is the giant store," because every other store was like a little convenience store like that. So anytime we went over here, it was like an adventure. Bunch of little kids, same group that we tried to avoid. So now we're gonna circle back. Let me think here. Actually, I think this way might be better. Nope. We're gonna go this way. So this is the same building that my dad and aunt lived in. And so once I graduated kindergarten and I started going to first grade, I would have to walk way further. And so I want to say like 95% of the time somebody came and picked us up, even though ultimately it's not that long of a walk. It's maybe like, I don't know, a half a mile, not even. No, maybe a little. Yeah, something like that. Let's say half a mile from the doors of the first grade to my grandma's house. Probably even less to here. Definitely less to here. But anyways, so the way the school was set up, I hope you can hear this over the wind. The way the school was set up, no, God, I have to go around. The way the school was set up was each grade level was released at a different time. And so the first grade was released at the first ring, and second at the second ring, and third, and so on and so forth. And so the grade levels were also separated by kind of like this giant cage. And that sounds kind of funny when I say it, but it was, imagine there's, a school hallway going down, and let me walk past these ladies here. Anyway, so let me see if I can flip this camera. This would be good to... This is so ridiculous. I should have checked this before I started recording. Anyways, so I forgot where I was at the story. The release of the people in the school. So when they would release the kids, first grade, that's the only grade I was ever in, we would just scram to run as fast as we could before second and third grade would get out, because they would, like chase us and nobody ever got beat up, but they would always threaten to like beat the under kids up. And anyways, but once third and fourth grade got released, then, the second and third grade kids would scram to get away from them. And the scariest part was there was one hallway that separated the elementary schools and the middle school kids. And the middle school kids would walk out of their classrooms, but the gate was closed for, let's say, like 2 minutes as all the younger kids got out. And you had to go past that gate, and they would, like prison yard prisoners, just be shaking it and yelling at us, and we would just be running and screaming to get home. Good times in Poland. It's another little playground. So what I really like about kind of living here in the Polish neighborhoods is there's little playgrounds everywhere. Now this one is not being very used, but a lot of the other ones are pretty frequently used. But yeah, so I guess I'll walk over to the school to kind of show what the walking process was, although I don't think this route that I'm taking now is the route that I would normally take when I was a kid. I think there's some shortcuts that I'm missing probably. But this is just your typical neighborhood here in Poland. It's pretty cool, I'd say. I'm sure we'll probably run into another playground or two before we finish up this video. So nice today too. Oh, another fun thing. So schools here have a whole bunch of extracurricular stuff connected right to the school. And so I remember I really liked swimming in kindergarten. So my mom signed me up for the swim team in elementary school. But that was like a whole, bigger deal where we actually had practice and stuff. And I hated it so much because the first time I went, there was a bunch of super mean kids because I was a first grader and I was swimming, I would say faster than, the second and third graders. And so they weren't being very nice to me. And then I went to the locker room and the shower must have had some sort of gel or something in it. And the water was green. And I thought it was so disgusting. And I told my mom I'm never going back. And there ended my swimming career. Just a bunch of kiddos doing exercise and stuff. So this was the school. I'll show the steps that I talked about earlier, or did I? That we would run down the steps and always have a fun time. Look at the different cars. Every car, I guess these actually look pretty similar. But there's a bunch of different brands in Europe that you notice that you don't see in America at all. I don't even know half the names. Yeah, this was a terrible time to say that because these are all Mazdas and Toyotas. So you see a bunch of those. People's bikes. More blocks. Now, I don't think I had any friends that lived on this side of the neighborhood. Most of my friends lived on the other side. I think there's another kindergarten here that is on this side of the neighborhood, and I was on the other side, obviously. Also, I think willows they're called. It's pretty cool, right? It's just so nice. Look at how many people you see just walking around the neighborhood. There's kids screaming, having a good time. It's so much better than in America where you just get in your car, you drive 30 minutes, you pick up some food, you drive 30 minutes somewhere else. You're never around people. The quality of life. Look at all these bikes. I'm assuming most of these are all the middle school kids, but there's so many people just outside enjoying the weather. It's so much better. But yeah, so here we're gonna end the video. I'm gonna start walking back. But this was the steps of the first grade that I went to, and yeah, see you later.